Well, another Wednesday Night War just passed by, so we're going to review both AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT on this episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, all promotions, wrestlers, championships, and matches. I am your host, J-Rod here. Before I begin trying to reveal the ratings and views of both AEW Dynamite and NXT, as you guys may have heard already recently that WWE are now going to take control of every talent's Twitter account. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about that. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that they're trying to take control. I know that some people are questioning how can WWE do this. Well, it is kind of a problem. Now, if you all recall, apparently Matt Cardona started his YouTube channel, but apparently what happened is he said that he didn't know he made money out of it, but it did. So I think that's the problem. Apparently they're trying to make money on the side, but apparently that to Vince that seems like a little bad for business. But I mean, come on, they're using their real names, and it's kind of ridiculous. They're saying they own their names. I mean, they own the wrestler's name, not their full names that they normally use, which is kind of ridiculous. So you guys tell me what you think. So right now, let's jump in with the ratings. Now, as you all know, we have been seeing recently since AEW and NXT went back to their usual Wednesday Night War thing. Who wins the ratings? Well, this week it's still the same. AEW won again. This time with the viewership of 866,000 views with the rate of 0.33. NXT had 732,000 views with the rate of 0.19, which is good because it kind of slid a little bit. But however, none of these shows where it cannot even win up the board to reach to a million. Now I will talk about a little bit my final thoughts about why is it they NXT can't move. So we'll get to that. So right now let's review AEW Dynamite. All right. So AEW Dynamite started with the first match of the evening. I have to say this one was really good. This was Ricky Starks versus Darby Allin. This was more of a revenge match that took place at All Out. As you know, it was Darby Allin. They eliminated Ricky Starks at the Casino Battle Royale at All Out. So basically, they've been going back and forth. But this time, this match was a little different than we normally see with Darby Allin. If you all know Darby Allin's reputation, he's normally a death match or hardcore type of wrestler. But however, he showed he can do more than that. That he can be a better wrestler than not involving the hardcore stuff, which was good. I have to say, this is one of those matches that showed Darby Allin he can do that. He has the same kind of way that Joey Janela has mentioned before. So it was amazing with the story. Even Taz was commentating the whole thing, but it was great. I have to say, when Darby Allin picked up a great victory on this one, uh, we do see a lot of prominent in him. Same thing with Ricky Starks. So Darby Allin took the victory on this one. Now, we've been waiting for a long time to hear a response from this. A week ago, Mr. Brody was defeated Orange Cassidy when a surprise person reappeared after 5 weeks, and I'm talking about Cody, the American Nightmare. As you know, Mr. Brody was not happy with the fact that he came back, asking him where's he been for the past 5 weeks while he was doing all the work. So he decided to put the setup on a match against Cody in a dog collar match, which is the first of its kind. Now, we have seen AEW done many interesting matches, like the Mimosa match, the Stampede match, those type of things. So Cody decided that he talked about how he felt ever since then, but he did later on. He was saying that he will accept his Mr. Brody Lee's challenge for the TNT Championship in a dog collar match. However, when the challenge was accepted, Mr. Brody decided he's not going to wait. He decided he has to take him out. It became a huge chaos in the ring, basically trying to separate Mr. Brody from Cody, or Cody from Mr. Brody, and all this and other that. But as soon as that happened, Brandy jumped on top of the Dark Order members. But however, Brandy had a surprise attack from Anna Jay. As you recall, Brandy hasn't forgotten what Anna Jay did to her. Their feud is not far from over, even though Anna Jay did pick up a victory thanks to Stu Grayson, who decided to interfere. I have a feeling Stu will get his day after what he did. So it's going back and forth. But Mr. Brody is not happy with the fact that he's back and he wants him gone. But it's not going to happen. He's back with the vengeance. But I will talk to you about something that relates to Cody that has been brought to my attention by another news outlet. So stand by on that at the end of the episode. Next thing we have was an interview with FTR. Now, FTR, as you know, have been playing a manipulated game when it comes to saying they will give wrestlers who they believe deserve a chance to win the championship. As you know, they haven't been doing that for the Young Bucks or the Best Friends. They think Best Friends are comedy relief. But what happens next, the person who was interviewed was Tony Schiavone. He got super kicked by the Young Bucks. And FTR were in shock that it happened. Why they didn't go after them? I think I see a certain psychology here. Now, let's say they took it too far with other wrestlers. They've been super kicking them. Instead of blaming the Bucks for what happened, what if Tony Khan decides, you know what? Let's give them what they want. An AEW World Tag Team Championship against FTR. FTR will be against it, but however, Tony would threaten them if they don't give it to them, then they'll strip it. So basically, they're playing a very interesting psychological game. So basically, since they like to be manipulated, FTR, then let's do that. So I think that's what it's happening. But I'll explain more about that at the end. Let's see what else we got. Okay, and of course we have the interview with SCU. As you know, SCU members Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian were set to be in a 20-minute business brush match, or whatever they call it, for the AEW World Tag Team titles against FTR. But this match was unbelievable. But however, there were certain mind tricks that happened. Apparently, somehow Dasher was able to convince the ref that Christopher Daniels interfered and had him thrown out, but he did not see it wasn't true. It was all a lie. So basically, they took advantage of it. But it was a good match to see. I was like very impressed. But however, it wasn't good enough. Apparently, FTR got away with it. So basically, who is going to be the ones to strip them of the titles sooner than later? Because they're trying to reinvent the tag team division in their way. Because they have a thing where flips is not professional wrestling. Because that's how they've always seen it. And besides, they're getting sick and tired that they're being named as the second best tag team wrestlers in the world, because the Bucks have been at everywhere. However, those titles have been eluding them. So we'll get to that more in a little while. Now, they announced throughout the entire time of the tournament. As you know, Hangman Adam Page was commentating with this because I think he wants a shot of the titles. But however, they announced for a tournament to determine who will face Jon Moxley for the AEW World title at Full Gear. So they already announced 3 of the 8 competitors in the tournament that will start soon. But whoever wins the tournament will face Jon Moxley for the title. Amongst them is Jungle Boy, Rey Fenix, and Kenny Omega. This was something that Hangman did not expect. Now, Kenny did state it a while back that he is considering going back into singles competitor, which is something that many fans have talked about. But however, Hangman Page was a little shocked and disappointed on this. But however, there is speculation from some fans that believe he could too be in the tournament. So that is something we gotta pay attention and keep an eye on. Now let's go to the next match. Now this match was set up a while back. This one was between Isaiah Cassidy alongside Mark Quinn and Matt Hardy against Inner Circle members Chris Jericho and apparently, well, it's actually Chris Jericho. So this was Isaiah Cassidy to shine as a single competitor because they had issues with the inner circle for quite some time. But it was a good match. But the interesting part of this match is that somehow Jericho assaulted the Chaos Project, Luther and Serpentico. Apparently, we may see a new rivalry. Some people say, but aren't they heels? They're not supposed to face heels. Well, apparently Jericho doesn't like people. He thinks of them they're full of garbage. That's pretty thing. But Jericho has been known to put over wrestlers that deserve to be on the top, and I do believe that Luther and Serpentico could be those people. Now, I'm not sure. I know Luther is part of AEW, but however, I don't know about Serpentico because we're not sure if he's a full-time member of the roster. So I will find out more on that. So, but however, the match didn't go as planned for Isaiah Cassidy, thanks to Hagar who interferes. But Jericho picked up the victory when he actually full blown the Judas effect. So it appears now because of their involvement with the Chaos Project, this coming Wednesday they will face them on Jericho's 30-year anniversary program that's going to take place on Dynamite. So you cannot miss that. Now, as you know, recently we've been watching Kip Sabian, who announced the best man is none other than Miro, formerly known as Rusev. He is trying to set up a bachelor party for Kip. So he's been trying to go at it, trying to make it more awesome for him to watch. So basically, he's getting some ideas from some guy. I forgot his name. But we'll just gotta wait and see what's gonna happen. But he is the best man. Now, in an interview by Dasha, she talked to the best friends about if they will get a chance to get a title shot. And of course, Orange Cassidy is set to face against Dark Order member 10. Now, FTR, however, trying to make fun of them, and they're telling them that they're gonna go get Sue's van and get their milk and cookies and all this. And as soon as they were leaving, they were about to attack them. But however, Orange Cassidy said this: weenies. So yes, so FTR are a bunch of weenies. They are too. I think they don't want to face them because they think they're not good enough. But you'd be surprised if FTR thinks they're the best, then challenge the team that you think are that you don't think are worthy, because you may be surprised at how close they can beat you. So that's what happens. So we jump in with the match between Orange Cassidy and 10. So it was a phenomenal match to see that. So however, not much of the match you see. They were even John Silver was making fun of Orange Cassidy, but they had it coming one way or the other. So basically, because of that, Orange Cassidy beat 10, and this was a great moment for Orange Cassidy to beat. This was more of a revenge match to avenge the loss that he had against Mr. Brodie Lee. So, but here's the question: how would Mr. Brodie Lee treat this? Well, I can tell you how. We're just gotta watch what's gonna happen on Being the Elite. So we'll see. Now MJF shows up. It was called for the cameras because he's bearing gifts, giving these awesome jackets. So he didn't get one. So Sammy Guevara didn't have one right there, so it became a few. Now, however, Jericho began to question about MJF's motives. So basically, he's asking him, does he want to join the Dark Order? But MJF reminded him, do you want me to be in the inner circle? So basically, they're going back and forth. But however, all of a sudden, you see Hagar right in front of Wardlow, two giant behemoths. Now, we could see those two guys down the line face off. But here's the thing. Jericho said that he likes the guy. So I think some of them inner circle members are worried. But someone did state it. What if MJF decides that he takes over the inner circle? You may never know. Because the thing is, Jericho said he would love to retire soon, but we don't know when that will happen. But keep that in mind. We'll pay attention closely to that story. Now, the next match we have is the return of Britt Baker since All Out, facing off against Red Velvet. So we see more of Red Velvet at Law. She's been stirring things up as always, thanks to Taz, what he says. But Britt Baker, we know she is back with a vengeance, but this time she is set out to set an example to the women's division, saying it's her division because she is a role model and she's the first ever female wrestler to be signed with AEW. So she's using the first card. So she thinks she has what it takes to do that. But however, there is one thing she needs to do: obtain the AEW Women's World Title. That's what she needs, but she doesn't have that. So we'll see who's going to do that, because we do see certain wrestlers that could possibly get their hands on that title. Now, next thing we see is Eddie Kingston. Now, Eddie Kingston said that he will have Jon Moxley put his title on the line against anybody he chooses. We weren't sure who it was because he had with him Penta, and of course we had what's his name? Oh yeah, and Rey Fenix. But the person he picked was the Butcher. It was a very hardcore match. Like, well, not hardcore like throwing tables, but really a tough match for Jon Moxley. I practically enjoyed it. I loved it. It showed Jon Moxley is a fighting champion, even though the way it ended, Kingston was not happy that the Butcher lost. So it did prove that Moxley is a fighting champion, no matter what people say or think. So I'm excited, but also I just want to redirect back to the first match of the night with Ricky Starks and Darby Allin. I forgot to mention this. During the match, they were about to be. Brian Cage came out to help Ricky Starks, but out of nowhere, Will Hobbs saved the day. So that's kind of interesting to see. But it's been announced later for this upcoming Dynamite episode for Jericho's 30th year anniversary that Brian Cage will put the FTW championship on the line against Will Hobbs. So this is going to be interesting. But according to other wrestling promotions, such as All Pro Wrestling, based out of the Bay Area, this is not the first time they come across each other. So this is going to be interesting. So there'll be more things to come on this latest AEW Dynamite coming up soon. So you guys better be ready for that. So right now, let's jump in with NXT. Alright, so we're starting with NXT. Let's go with the first match. This match is between Shotzi Blackheart versus Dakota Kai alongside Raquel Gonzalez. Now, this was a revenge match by Dakota Kai against Shotzi Blackheart. If you may have followed a week ago, it was Shotzi Blackheart that eliminated Dakota Kai, so Dakota Kai hasn't forgotten. But this was a good match to watch. I enjoyed exactly how it went because you get to see more of Shotzi Blackheart, what she can do. She seems like a prominent female wrestler that we can see who has a bright future there. So much of the match seems it was going in Shotzi Blackheart way or either Dakota. But however, there is one person that got in the way, and that is Raquel Gonzalez. She's always by the side of Dakota Kai. But however, it appears that she has gotten the attention of our former NXT Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley. So basically, she attacked her. But out of nowhere, when Rachel was being distracted with the presence of Rhea Ripley, apparently Dakota Kai seems like she had Shotzi Blackheart right in her sights, but apparently she missed, allowing Shotzi Blackheart to pick up the victory. So basically, this is going to be an interesting thing. We may see a feud between Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley. I think this is something that many fans want to see, those two head to head. So I'm interested to see it because it pretty much looks like I'm invested to it. Now, they had some sort of talk between Santos Escobar and Isaiah Swerve Scott. Now, as you know, at TakeOver, the NXT Cruiserweight Champion is on the line. Santos will be defending it against Isaiah Swerve Scott. However, Scott has already had 2 pinfalls against Santos. One during the Cruiserweight tournament and one from that 6-man tag team match that he was involved with Breezango. So basically, Santos believes in his righteous mind that he will obtain no matter what Scott throws at him. So he thinks that he will have the upper hand as always. But there is the elephant in the room that we have to address. it's the other members of Legado del Fantasma. We're talking about um, Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wild. So, if they interfere, then that could cause a problem. But I predict somehow that Breezango could interfere. But that's until we get to Takeover. So, now the next thing we have is a little story about Kyle O'Reilly. I like this one where he talked about how he was for 15 years he's been wrestling around the world. He heard great stories about Finn Balor when he was somewhere else. Finn Balor was in Japan, and when Finn Balor left to Japan to go to NXT, Kyle O'Reilly went to Japan. So this is one of those matches where it's more like, okay, Kyle O'Reilly is ready to step up as a singles competitor. Now, some of you fans ask yourself, wait a minute, isn't he a tag team specialist? Well, truth to be told, yes, he is. But however, he did have a successful run as a singles competitor. If you guys don't know this, he was once Ring of Honor world champion at one time before he went to NXT. But it was interesting. So we may see more of Kyle O'Reilly as a singles competitor. Now, when this whole thing was done with the story, we jump into the Garganos. Now, Candice LeRae is very happy she got rid of Tegan Knox, trying to ensure she'll never get a title shot. She thinks that once she obtained it, the entire NXT will be reinvented into their way. Same thing with what Johnny Gargano believes. So, even though both the Garganos are set to face in a mixed tag team match against Io Shirai and Damian Priest. Now, we go to the ring where Cameron Grimes, he was unhappy with the result of what happened at last week's Gauntlet Eliminator. He believes that he was robbed from winning the match. If you all recall, he was this close of winning, but apparently Kyle O'Reilly's foot was on the ring ropes. He thought in his mind, when the ref told him to get off of him, he thought that he won the match, but he did not. So he to set out this invitational to the moon type of match, and he faced off this guy Ariel Dominguez. He was out, and then all of a sudden he was facing against Rich Holland, a man he did not invited, but he took him out silly. So basically, Rich Holland broke this guy in half. You see, Rich Holland is not there, play by anybody's rule. He's there to fight. That's the mistake that Cameron Grimes should have known. So, next interview we have is Austin Theory. Now, Austin Theory, he's a young 22, 24 wrestler, somewhere around there in his 20s, who believes that Kyle O'Reilly is old. That took him 15 years to get an opportunity to face a guy like Finn Balor. But he thinks that he is well deserved for that title shot. He thinks that everything should be his. So, but I knew right from the moment that he said that it would piss off either Kyle O'Reilly or the rest of the Undisputed Era. So that all depends on that. Now, next thing we have is Kushida's promo video. He's been talking about ever since he's been injured, he came back with a vengeance. Now, if you all recall, he has been going more aggressive than we've never seen before. This is something new, a new type of Kushida. Now, if you guys have followed Kushida back then in Japan with New Japan, he was in fact nothing like this. But this new Kushida is something I feel that was missing out when he was in New Japan. I will explain to you guys about that in my final thoughts about what I think about what I was referring to. So, but he left a message to Velveteen Dream, so he is going to face him at TakeOver. So he said that he will show him the new version of Kushida, a much vicious type. So that's his message. Then we have the match with Kushida versus the premier athlete, Tony Nese. But like I said, Kushida has now gone into a different direction, a much aggressive type of person. So we never seen that, but he actually won the match with a submission with the hoverboard, so he picked up the victory. However, Velveteen Dream is not impressed with him. He said he doesn't care how vicious he is, that he is going to be, like always saying that Dream is going to be over for him. So we'll see how that happens at TakeOver. Now, as Cameron Grimes has not been happy with what happened where he got his butt whooped by um, Rich Holland. Out of nowhere, we just saw the return of Dexter Loomis. I don't know where this angle is going with Dexter Loomis. I wouldn't be surprised if he stalks him and creeps him out, because I do see. I've been very much impressed with Dexter Loomis. I mean, it's a sad shame he had to give up his spot for the ladder match that took place at the previous takeover, but it's great to see him. I can't wait to see him back in action. Now, as you'll recall earlier, Austin Theory dissed Kyle O'Reilly about what he said, that, you know, that he didn't deserve to go for the NXT Championship. But Adam Cole had something to say. He started out saying that the Undisputed Era has been dominant for 3 years. They fulfilled the prophecy to obtain all titles that they were available. That includes the NXT title, the NXT Tag Team titles, and the NXT North American Championship. However, things haven't been the same for them since they were all lost the titles. And some people believe they're not taking them serious anymore, but this time they're going to show them wrong. However, Cole hasn't forgotten what Austin Theory just said earlier, saying that Kyle O'Reilly has been working so hard to get where he is right now. Now, he's very proud of Kyle O'Reilly for many years. When you disrespect a friend and also someone he faced before, he will not take it well. So he called out Austin Theory. So he gave him two options: either get in the ring, or two, be by the ramp and get his butt whooped by the Undisputed Era. So he picked option one. But this time, much of the beginning of the match seems like it was dominant by Adam Cole. And it was so amazingly where he's telling him that he is nothing. And he's always been known to do that. But Austin Theory, well, he deserved what he said. He kept dissing people, thinking he deserves everything on a silver platter. But at some point in the match, it was overturned where Austin Theory had the upper hand. But everything went great. I like this way how it goes. But however, Austin Theory was not enough to take out Adam Cole where he did it. And at the end of the match, he keeps saying the same thing about Kyle O'Reilly. He's proud of him where he's going. So we can't wait to see Kyle O'Reilly, the face Finn Balor, at TakeOver. Now, we see an interview with Damian Priest and Io Shirai, who they're ready to prepare to face Candice LeRae and Io Shirai. But he did state that he feels that both Io Shirai and him are rock stars. And he did say he likes Io Shirai. And Io Shirai had the same feelings about him too. But the real question is, can they retain their titles against the power couple themselves, the Garganos? Next match we have is a women's match. We had Kayden Carter along with Kacy Catanzaro versus Xia Li. Now, I'm going to skip ahead and just say the winner. This one was Kayden Lee. Kayden Carter took the victory. But however, something is now changed in the direction with Xia Li. Now, we have seen Xia Li has been successful in her matches before. We know of her rivalry with Aaliyah and all that. But now she seems like she's in a losing streak. She hasn't been herself lately. Now, could this be a sign of her becoming a heel? It could be a possibility. We don't know when that will happen, but it appears like it's inevitable when it's going to happen. Excuse me. Anyway, and then we go to the face-to-face monitor by HBK, Shawn Michaels. Now, Kyle O'Reilly made it perfectly clear. Even if he won the title, it doesn't change anything. He will not only just win it for himself, he'll win it from the Undisputed Era. Now, some of you people could say, how is that? Why is that? Could there be a problem? I mean, we've seen this before with Evolution. Well, we'll get to that in the final thoughts, or my predictions of TakeOver, or whatever. But they were going back and forth. But however, Kyle O'Reilly made it perfectly clear to Finn Balor that he never faced a guy like him. So basically, this is more like a dream match for him, because he's always wanted to face him. This is something that's been years in the making. You know, you have Kyle O'Reilly, who's been following Finn Balor's career, who wanted to face him. So this is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see it at a takeover this weekend. So we'll see how that happens. Now it's Slobberknocker time. It's the main event. It's Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano in a mixed tag team match against Damian Priest and Io Shirai. Now this was an interesting match because the Garganos are always trying to plan ahead or trying to outsmart their opponents because they do believe they are destined to win those titles. They want to take it away from Io Shirai and Damian Priest to set out a message saying that the Gargano way is inevitable, it's going to come no matter what. But fast forward to the match, it seems like everything was going Priest and Shirai's way, but however, Candice LeRae give the low blow to Damian Priest, allowing Gargano to pick up the victory, and that's how it is. But could this be a sign they could win the respective matches? Well, we just gotta wait and see at TakeOver. So let's jump in right now to my final thoughts of this Wednesday Night War. Okay, so let's give you my final thoughts of this show. Now, what did I think? Which one had seemed better? Well, there have been some good shows. I mean, both shows opening with their respective matches were good. The match between Darby Allin versus Ricky Starks was good. Same thing with Shotzi Blackheart and Dakota Kai. So I have to say they both had a pass on that. And I did like the match between Adam Cole and Austin Theory because it showed that Adam Cole will do whatever it takes to show the world that it doesn't matter anymore what you think of us if you think we're not the same people. But when you disrespect my buddy Kyle O'Reilly, you're in for a big trouble. So that's what I like about that story. It showed Adam Cole. But however, people are still reminded of the Evolution story. If you guys have forgotten, when Evolution was the most dominant force ever in WWE, when Randy Orton won the title, Triple H did the thumbs down, something that Romans would do. And he kicked out Randy Orton when he became the world champion. Now, some people speculate, could this happen again? It could. There's always been the case of wrestlers who are the leaders, but they're not the champions. For example, we had that with Chaos in New Japan. This happened when Kazuchika Okada, before he became leader of Chaos, it was Shinsuke Nakamura, but he did not obtain the title. But they both were equally the same. That's always been one of those things. So we don't know for sure what direction is going to be. Is Kyle O'Reilly going to be kicked out of Undisputed Era? Because right now there's been reports coming in that 2 members of the Undisputed Era could be drafted to the main roster, either Raw or SmackDown. We just got to wait and see what's that going to go. So I can't wait to see it. Now, there comes of certain things that I did like about this. Let's see. I did like the story about how the brawl between Brody Lee and Cody is becoming. It was a good brawl because it showed, that Brody Lee is not going to tolerate Cody's return. That he will do whatever it takes to ensure he's gone. Because they want to prove the dominance and all this and that. So there's been a lot of things, but right now I feel the edge is for me and I believe the way I see it is AEW. So I feel like they may have been the one show that was good to watch today. Now, I want to talk to you about something that I came across on YouTube yesterday. This is from a YouTube channel called Bro Wrestling. A guy named, forgot his name, out of Greek. He talked about something interesting. As you know, if you heard already, Arn Anderson already filed the trademark, The Four Horsemen. Now, there has been speculation about The Four Horsemen. Who could be in it? Now, however, this guy from Bro Wrestling did have an interesting theory. What if it's the Elite? What if the Elite are turning heels? Because we're seeing the signs of the cleaner and the signs of the Bucks becoming, you know, becoming super kicking everyone. That's exactly what they did years ago. As for Cody, he we're seeing now. It appears that we could see only Cody, Kenny, and the Bucks being part of the Four Horsemen, some kind of a way with them. It could be a possibility, but however, what does it lead for Hangman? So according to what Pro Wrestling believe, what if Hangman becomes the hero of the story? He got kicked out because he hasn't been himself ever since he lost to Jericho at All Out when they first crowned the first ever AEW champion. So that's always been one of those stories. Could Adam Hangman Page be the hero? So that's what I think. So there's been very interesting, compelling information stories that could fit into it. So if the Elite becomes heels, then it would be make a lot of sense. But I'm just saying this is a speculation or whatever Pro Wrestling thought. But I'll try to set up the link when I get a chance, so you guys can see it for yourselves. Now, the last thing I want to talk before I end the episode, there's been talk about saying Dave Meltzer talked about saying would and WWE considered moving NXT to a Tuesday or Thursday night. Reason is that we have seen ever since for a couple weeks when AEW or NXT were not head to head, the numbers have gained better. Uh, it does. But however, there's been talk about this. Now, I've always said this before. WWE will not tolerate another promotion stealing their thunder. But so far, AEW has succeeded, and many times over. Why does people say that? Why can why can AEW move? Simple as that. It was the TNT network that suggested. Now, if the USA network said they want to move it to Tuesday, Vince is not going to allow that to happen. So that's that. But now there's recent development that appears the NXT are moving to a new location. Now, they haven't specified yet, but I will keep up on that. So, I think that's it right now on my final thoughts and everything else for both shows. And of course, the new developments that's been happening and interesting theories, all that. So, I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day.